What's up YouTube, welcome to the video. In this video we will learn how we can properly maximize and full screen our application and what is the difference between them. And if you want to implement both of the functions, I mean the maximize and the full screen function in your application, you must watch the full video. So let's begin. So first of all, we will create a new project of type Windows Form. So Windows Form .NET Framework, and we will name it Max versus full screen and create. So first I need this form as borderless, so I will make it non-sizable. This is how you make it non-sizable. Now I need some buttons, so button, and the writing should be a little bigger. So inside the font I'll make it 12. Now for the Unicodes, close is just X, and for the minimize, here is the Unicode for that. So just copy and paste it here. I will give these code in the description. And for maximize, I should put 1. I should put 1, and then come inside the font section and change the font family to Webdings, and this is the maximize symbol. And now the full screen symbol. So these are our 4 buttons, and we will make the function for each of them. So to make the function, I will make a new class in my project. So right click the project, go to add, and here is the class, and we will name it as control. First of all, I will make this class as a static class, and then some static variables. So static bool is max. It would indicate that the application is currently in the maximum position or not, and the second one would indicate that the application is in full screen mode or not. And then static point. So currently point is not within our libraries, so I would have to declare the system.drawing, and then here is our point. So we would declare 2 of the variables of this type, old location, so old log, and the default location. And then I would declare static size, old size, and default size. So basically this old location and old size would be used for the reason that if a application is shorter, so this is its old size, and it is now maximized, and then it is back to its old size. So this is what old size and old location is about. So if my Visual Studio is here and I maximize it, then when I minimize it, it goes back to that old location. So this is the old location and old size is about. And now what is the default location and the default size? So this is for the reason that if the application is too big, I mean if let's say if the Visual Studio is this big, and our application due to the full screen due to the full screen function, it could be bigger. So if it is this big and we maximize it and then we minimize it, it's still too much big. So this will turn the application into this much size. So this is gonna be our default size. Once we are done with this project, you can import this class into any of your project, and you don't have to write this anymore, and you can import it and just use it as it is. So first of all, we will create a initialization function. So public static void set initial, and for this I have to import a new library, which is system.windows.forms, and now I can use the class form, and here I can initialize my variables. So I'm basically assigning the old location and the default location the same value, and the old and the default size the same value. This is because these would change over time, but these would remain the same. So this is why we need both of them. Now we will create the full screen method. So for that, static void full screen. Inside this, the if else condition, if form dot windows state equals to form windows state dot maximized, make that form as normal. So form dot windows state equals to form windows state dot normal. This means that if the window is maximized, make it normal. And now the other condition, so else if form dot windows state equals to form windows state dot normal, form dot windows state equals to form windows state dot maximize. So if the windows is in the normal form, just maximize it to the full screen. So this is our full screen function. Now for the maximize function, we are putting the form as our parameter, because we are making this application vast, and we will be able to use this application inside any Windows Form project. So this is why we are doing this mumbo jumbo. Now for this function, int x equals to so the working area is the entire full screen excluding the taskbar. So if I open this notepad and maximize it, you can see that this is occupying the full working area. So this is called the working area. Now let us complete this function. So form dot windows state equals to so what we are doing here, we are moving the form towards the 00 location, which is the start of the screen. Here is the 00 location. Then we are expanding it to the working area, means we are expanding it all the way here. It means that first the application goes to here, then the program expand our application to the full working area. So this is what we are doing to maximize our application. And now finally the exit function. So static void exit. Application dot exit. Now we will not use this maximize function. It does maximize our application, but it is only our little private method. So we're gonna make a public method, and we're gonna do some and we're gonna perform some more shit there, and make a bigger function out of this small function. So let us do that. So I will come here, and I will name my public method as, so if is max equals to false, equals to false, means that the application, the app is not maximized, not maximized. Then maximize maximize it. So first of all, we are saving the current location inside our old location and old size. Then we are maximizing the application, so we would use the function below to maximize our application, and then I would give the form as my argument. Is max is now equals to true, because we have maximized the application, and is full screen equals to false. And this method should also ask for a button, which would be the maximize button. So max button, and in the maximize part we would change the max button text equals to 2. Now for the else condition, so this is the job this function would do. So in the else section, I would restore the size and the location. So for that I have to write form dot location would be equals to the old location which we have saved in this section, and form dot size would also be equals to the old size. Then both the is max should be equals to false, should be equals to false, is full equals to false, and I forget to write the return type of this method, so it was giving the error. Now it is just fine, and now we can create our full screen method. Then finally we're gonna test it out that what our final application is doing. So public static void full screen do full screen, and form would be the parameter. So the same thing would be here. I would just copy this and change it a little bit. So instead of is max, we would check that it is full screen or not, and if it is and the app is not full screen, then full screen it, and after saving the old location and size of the application, do not maximize it, instead full screen it, and we don't need this max button over here. Now for the else condition, I would also copy this and paste it. Full screen. So the app is currently in the full screen. Make it normal. So for making it normal, I would call full screen and give the argument as form. And that's it. This should be true and this should be false. So basically in the full screen section, we are full screening and not maximizing the application. So our app is almost complete. We just need to debug it a little bit. So I'm gonna run the application, but it won't do anything because we haven't used this control class in the actual application. So this is our actual application. I would first go to the close button and choose the control dot. The exit button is not set to public, the exit method. So public control dot exit, and then to minimize the application, we have not yet built the minimize button. And static void. So our function, our minimize function is complete. Now to use it, come inside here, click the button and control dot minimize. We have to give the form over here, and to give this form, I mean this form to another class, we use this keyword. Now to our next button, which is the maximize button. Control dot do maximize, and now finally the full screen button. We have to give the button to, so for that this line basically identifies the button being clicked. So this button would be clicked, and this would identify that this is the button being clicked, this comma button. Now inside our full screen button, we would do control dot do full screen. Let's run the application. So it's maximizing just well, and maximize, minimize is it's doing it right. And now the full screen. But what happens if I full screen and then maximize? and then minimize. Why it is doing this? So this is the reason I have used the default location and default size variables. So here I would declare a new condition if old size dot width is greater than equals to the system information dot working area dot height, then form dot location and form dot size should be equals to the default location and the default size. If the application is currently maximized and we are trying to make it back to normal, the size of the application should be less than the working area. So we are comparing that if the size is bigger than the working area, then turn the size of the application and location to the default size and the default location. So this is what we are doing here. Else else just turn them back to the old location and old size. So this is how we have debugged our application, and we would do the same inside the full screen. So we would just copy this entire code and paste it over here when our app is currently full screen and we want to make it normal. Paste it here. Now let's run the application. But before that, I forgot to initialize this method. So this method should fire when app starts. So we will come over here, and when the app start, I have to use the method. So set initials. Now let's run the application. So it's maximizing and full screen, and I maximize it and then minimize it. Now I maximize it, then full screen, then minimize, the maximize button, full screen button. Everything is working just fine. So our application is actually complete. That was all for the video. If you like the video, press the like button and do subscribe to the channel, and see you next time.